This is an existential risk I fear for my job and as a company. If this ever happened in the world, it would make our business model very difficult to keep going on.
What are you using AI for within influencer marketing, and where is it where do you set the line of like, no, you cannot use AI for this part of influencer marketing?
With AI, I think that there is a lot of busy work that you can entrap yourself into doing. And
Mhm.
feeling that because there are some tools available and there's all this FOMO about everyone's 100xing their productivity, you too should set up a bunch of automations and AI tools that you use. We try to be pretty deliberate about measuring how much time it takes us to get work done, and then think about, if we are using an AI tool, are we getting more of that work done with less hours? So the first thing we think about is, are we not creating new work? I think I've seen this. We've made the mistake of replacing work with AI, but then we've created new work, which is maybe monitoring the AI tool or repeatedly prompting the AI tool, which effectively means you're spending the same amount of time just pointing your work time in a different direction.
Yeah, sometimes you spend more time fighting the AI than it would have taken to just do the task yourself.
Yeah. And so the first thing we do now is we try to write down ultimately what are we trying to achieve. And for us, we break it down into, we're doing offers with creators, which means that we're doing a lot of talking about pricing and deliverables. And then we're doing the campaign operations, which is we're collecting information, whether it's a draft script, draft video, the actual live link. And then finally, we're doing analysis on how has the creator performed. We found that AI really helps us when it comes to creator communication. So there is a ton of questions that creators ask us when they're negotiating with us about a brand that they don't really expect creative, personalized answers to. They just want to know, how flexible is the timeline? How much room does the brand have to go up on budget if I can throw in a YouTube short or usage rights? These are questions that we know the answers to because the brand has told us or we have a document. And we now feed the AI model to answer that to the creator instantly, so that the creator doesn't have to wait for 6, 7, 8 hours a day before they hear back from us, information that was already available. So it helps us in speeding up communication. And the second thing that we now do on the platform is we review every draft script or draft video through the lens of an AI that's been fed all the previous feedback that a brand has provided the creator. Have you mentioned your CTA? Have you put the link in the description? Have you shown the logo at the start of the video or wherever the brand wants you to mention it? These are, again, templatized checklists that a human probably will take a day to get back to the creator. Whereas now with the AI tool on Faved, we are able to do it pretty much instantaneously. And I think the way we think about this is, how many processes can we remove ourselves from as Faved? And so how many times can we get a creator or a brand an instant answer? And those are all the places that we mostly use AI.
Mhm. That makes a lot of sense.
What about you?
So I use it throughout in different ways. So part of it is like when brands are looking for influencers, enriching that list can take forever if you're doing it manually. So enriching it, whether it is having it do like the first run through of like trying to find that creator's email, things like that, filling in all of that information, that's always really helpful. Also for briefing, I found it really helpful to basically use it to create the brief with the list of features. So you have like a Claude skill or something like that that has everything the product does or the main talking points or things like that. And then you can feed it like, okay, the influencer said this, this, and this, like pull in which are the most relevant features or talking points or things like that that we have in our list of all the talking points we want to talk about in different content. And basically creating that from basically what we already had instead of having to go in and remake every single one. Like, every time make a new brief and everything. That's been super helpful. I've tried it for mapping. It's not the best for finding creators. It keeps bringing you the same thing, mostly from like influencer heroes lists or stuff like that, like these SEO lists that exist out there. Um,
Whatever has, to your point, whatever is optimized for an SEO blog list.
exactly. Like those SEO blog lists, that's what AI is pulling in for when you're searching for creators. So I think it's mostly for like improving those parts. Also for outreach messaging. I think it's like I have a main structure I use for outreach, and using AI, like feeding it my structure and then just giving it the product, giving it the creators and letting it really write more personalized outreach that doesn't require me to like go in and analyze every single creator's profile. That's always super helpful. Like those are the main ways I'm using AI. I think a lot of influencer marketing still requires the human touch of, like the content, the creative part of the content, like you can tell what's AI. So definitely not there. And then also with content review, like you still want to make sure that everything makes sense from give it that run through, even if you do use some sort of AI tool for that first run through of the content, like still having that human eye, like look at it and say like, oh, this looks a little funky, this doesn't fully make sense, things like that.
You also asked about what's blasphemous when it comes to using AI. And I'm curious to hear, do you have, you obviously mentioned about final human judgment that you want to apply. Is there anything you feel you'll never let AI touch or AI act on your behalf?
I think mainly the content. Like I think you can analytics, like definitely AI can take over of like starting to analyze, and then you get the final feedback of looking at a dashboard or things like that. You're not inputting data into a spreadsheet or things like that. That used to be a thing back in the day. But definitely, like I think the qualitative side of influencer marketing is so important that no matter how smart AI gets, it'll never be able to replace that like human creativity of content planning, of going through the content and understanding if this is going to feel like tone deaf or weird for that influencer to say. Like you still need that like that touch within that qualitative side of it. And I think vetting influencers is also something that AI can do a big part of that, but the final touch has to be a human. So like AI can look at like average views and like engagement rates and things like that. It can even analyze the comments because it's written text. But the final like decision of like, does this product actually belong on this influencer's feed? That's also like I think a human decision.
Yeah. We we sometimes think about when you're building your influencer program, we think about you needing to have 4 different scopes. You need to have a microscope, a telescope, a kaleidoscope, and a horoscope. And our way of thinking about this is you first need to understand on the absolute granular level, as if you're microscoping down, what are the key metrics you're trying to achieve in terms of impressions, conversions, CPA, CPM. You need to have those very, very specific. And on that, I think you can't really allow too much of experimentation because then your whole program is going to fall down. But then you need to also be telescoping out and go, okay, how is my program going to grow from month 1 to month 6 to month 18 and hopefully be around 5 years from now? So you need to think about, okay, these are my level 1 metrics that I'm going to show my team that influencer works. But then over time, the efficiency on those are going to go down. I think everyone complains about CPMs keep increasing, cost per acquisition keeps increasing, CAC increases. But that's because you haven't now gone and sold to other wider teams in your brand that influencer is benefiting us beyond just immediate sales, beyond just first video ROI, positive ROI. And then you need to have this kaleidoscopic angle of, okay, how do we weave in all our different influencer types? We started working just with fitness influencers, but can we also now have productivity creators? Can we also have creators that talk about business, endorse a protein powder? And you need to have differing viewpoints in some sense, cohesively still talk about your brand and not be so precious about, oh, I'm not going to let anyone veer out of my guidelines, that you can let other people almost craft the story of your brand and run with it. And I think finally we apply, this is where we go with AI will probably never be able to do it. And so we're not really religious about, we won't let AI touch anything. We'll think about, is this going to be catastrophic? If yes, then obviously for now it's not ready. But I think there's this horoscope element to, you need to find magic in the creators that partner with you and in the words that they use to describe your brand. And that's very difficult for something that's pre-trained to probabilistically predict. You just need the complete randomness of a person and believe that because they're creative as an individual, they have an audience of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who enjoy their personality. It's difficult to put down into guidelines and into a prompt. Let them just entertainingly talk about your product. And to us, when we think about AI, we feel that that's the last frontier, that we'll never be able to use it. It's not that we don't want it to be used, but we just haven't find a way to have the AI come up with a completely new angle that no one has ever thought about before to describe our nutritional product.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think that that's the human part. It's we're creative and we're like not expected. Like,
Yeah,
AI can do the
right.
expected and can copy what already exists, but the new angles, the new ideas, that has to come from a person, that cannot come from AI. So that's why they're like, I think influencer marketing will never be just AI running on its own.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And we've even tried using AI. As I was saying, we use it in getting bounces back to creators and brands.
Hmm.
And the first instance where we feel that the brand or the creator has complained, it'll stop using the AI and it'll escalate to a person, because we don't want repeatedly someone to encounter a bot.
Of course.
But we want them to signal to us where they are happy to be dealing with AI, because it speeds up their own workflow and they don't want to be talking to a person.
Hmm.
Uh, Where there remains us to figure out where AI can be used. And I think for us, it's this year, especially at Faved, it's been more about trying AI and everything and realizing where the models aren't capable yet of solving that problem. And then waiting for 6 months. The good news is that we've got Anthropic and OpenAI and all these large companies spending hundreds of billions of dollars improving their product, where if you just wait for 6 months, oftentimes you get the same tool now being able to do a workflow that previously it couldn't.
Definitely. Yeah. You see it all the time. Sometimes it's even less. It's like a month later, it can actually do what you needed. That's cool. And so kind of staying on that AI topic, I know you mostly work with YouTube channels. So I do see a lot more of those like AI faceless channels, like either AI or AI faceless channels. Um, are you working with any of these? What have you seen so far with these types of faceless or AI channels?
So the difficult aspect about looking at a channel, well, there are some very easy ways of identifying if a channel is effectively a bot farm
Mhm.
with content in front of it. Those are the channels that brands want to avoid, and those are the channels that we consider bad fits, because you're buying views, you're buying comments, engagement, and so there are no customers behind those views for an advertiser to benefit from. The difficulty is that on the surface, especially with content, a lot of really good channels who are AI faceless, but they're still good regardless, because they produce content that for some reason a lot of viewers trust and repeatedly genuinely go to learn from. There is no way to differentiate on the surface which one's AI disingenuous and which one's AI genuinely with people watching and trusting it.
Mhm.
We've found that brands are more than happy to work with faceless channels. In fact, there are large private equity firms that invest in faceless channels, and they try to buy them and put them under one umbrella. I think Economics Explained is a good example that LunarX purchased a few years ago. And there are a bunch of other channels that I learn a ton from. There's How Money Works, Polymatter, and I think the viewers know there is a genuine team behind these channels, and they're educating you and entertaining you. It just so happens that there is no person who's the hero of that content. Loads of those convert really well, and so we don't really distinguish faceless. We don't really care that much about faceless. We'll apply a score on how well they're converting, but we haven't seen a correlation of faceless as long as the content grips the viewer. When it
Mhm.
comes to clearly AI generated, and the whole channel is effectively most likely AI script. I have friends who have channels that are AI scripted, AI visual, AI audio generated, and it's almost on autopilot. The whole channel runs
Mhm.
through an AI engine. Some of them do still convert well for brands
Wow.
because they attract audiences, and audiences are subscribed to them and they're learning. And if the channel says go click on my description link, they do click on the description link on YouTube and go and end up signing up to the software. Particularly when it comes to discovering new tools, I think a lot of these channels talk about the top 10 new text to image generation tools or image to audio tools. They're probably the only way to cover the speed at which the AI industry is moving is through generating AI content. That a human possibly cannot be awake 24/7 talking about every new development in the model application layer. So I do think a lot of these channels convert well. And
Do you
the
have
simple,
brands that say they don't wanna work with any AI or any faceless channels?
yeah, I think because they put this blanket rule of we don't want to work with AI channels because they fear that they'll catch the 20, 30%, or maybe even more. They'll catch the channels that are disingenuous and that are paid, that are effectively building engagement pods. We don't have a good answer for that yet because they're right as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Particularly brands that are either new to the influencer marketing program and they feel that, oh, AI means that it's fake views. I don't want fake views because I'm not going to get ROI. So I don't even want to experiment with AI channels. And then there's a category of brands, I think, that are very, very concerned about their brand image and who they associate with. And for them, they are quite particular about, they just don't want to go anywhere near AI content in general. So topic of AI and seeming to endorse AI, they don't want to be associated to it. So they'll apply this brand safety check of, no, we don't work with AI channels.
Mhm. That makes sense. I think AI channels can work well for like software companies that, there's no face to like a CRM or these types of products that are even VPN. Like you don't need a face necessarily. I do see like anything in health, I think definitely should not be using AI channels, because you of course need that trust. But I think definitely there's there's the give and take in using AI for influencer marketing and AI channels and things like that. Like I think some products still do need that real face, right?
It's funny you mentioned, especially in health, you shouldn't have AI channel be working with AI channels. Jackie, I'd encourage you to go on YouTube incognito and spend an hour. This sounds very boomer in a hobby, but it has become a hobby of mine. Every few weeks, spend an hour watching YouTube ads that are unpersonalized to you. And you will be surprised to watch the YouTube pre-roll ads that are repetitive mostly. I don't know if you've heard of this. If not, let me try to evangelize Tai Chi walking.
I've got in their ads.
So you know what I'm talking about. And these
I
are
think there's and those are always AI people. Like
anatomically, this person does not exist in the real world because it's a 65-year-old person who's got 12-pack abs and the longest legs, weirdest hand to leg ratio I've seen in my life.
yeah.
And yet and clearly they're on some beach that somehow has two suns in the background. But I get those ads repeatedly, which tells me that whatever product that company's selling, I don't know if it's a course or if it's
It
some
must be working.
it's working. Yeah, because we know as advertisers that no one is running ads that are unprofitable.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
and also I must confess those ads have incredible storylines. Even though I know it's fake, sometimes I'm just waiting to see the next scene. Even though I know that Tai Chi walking, I don't even know how Tai Chi walking can cure all the problems in your life, realistically. I still want to see the next scene. So I do think there is, facetiously aside, I do think there is something about if the creator is super skilled and they make it evident this is AI content, but the storytelling is gripping and you as a viewer are going to be entertained for the 10 minutes. This is an existential risk I fear for my job and as a company. If this ever happened in the world, it would make our business model very difficult to keep going on. But there is a certain class of people who are very good at using AI tools to make evident AI content that is still entertaining. And
Mhm.
I think for those people, YouTube, I know, are deprioritizing this. And so they're actively, I think, algorithmically going to score lower if they detect too much of use of AI in your content, a lot of content from other places in your videos. But I do think some people are very skilled at generating AI content that will have loyal followership that will convert into buyers. So
Yeah.
I'm not dogmatic enough to completely dismiss AI channels.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I think I have a feeling that this is like a situation similar to what we saw like in the last 10 years, where like Instagram was like, it's kind of like AI is the same way as like Instagram feeds, where like, when Instagram started, it was like everything is filtered, everything is perfect and beautiful. And like you're only showing the perfect part of your life, aesthetic. And then all of a sudden TikTok showed up and it was like this like weird, messy, like the reality, it's still like you don't actually show the reality, but it's more authentic because people got so tired of this like super curated feed that they wanted like the complete opposite, which was anything happens, anything is content, and like the weirdest things can go viral. And I think now we're seeing a lot more AI content. Like I am seeing a lot of brands creating AI ads and like of course all these AI faceless channels that are like doing well. But I also see like a bit of that other side where people are like, because of all that AI, they're trusting more like the imperfect content than the perfect content. So I feel like I'm less scared that the world is going to abandon real creators, just because I think people want a human review and a real review. Like they want to understand that a person actually tried this product and said it, and it's not just some AI repeating whatever the brand said to say. And I think that's where I see the creator economy even growing more because of AI, because people will just get so tired of seeing all these AI ads of the deformed Tai Chi walking person or things like that. And they'll want to have the real person who has a realistic body of a 60-year-old showing you how to do that same Tai Chi walk, or things like that, where it's like, it's not the perfect, it's the human.
Yeah. And also with a couple of years ago, there was so much of talk about de-influencing,
Oh
where
yeah, that was huge.
if you fatigue the audience with something so evidently in their face,
Hmm.
the pendulum just swings to the other side where people crave the very opposite. And I agree. I feel that YouTube knows this as well. So do the other large platforms. YouTube spoke about dynamic branded segments that they're going to release at some point as a feature for advertisers and creators. On the Meta side, Meta really pushes creator partnerships ads.
Hmm.
And I think that's because they can foresee that the platforms are going to get flooded with AI ads, and viewers are going to get frustrated that I'm trying to watch content that's entertaining to me, and I is supposed to relax me and supposed to give me some sense of infotainment. But now I'm being interrupted by these really disruptive AI ads that I don't want to watch. But because there's a large bunch of people that are clicking buy, Meta thinks it needs to keep showing it to me. I think the only solution to that is force advertisers to use recognized faces in their paid ads,
Hmm.
because at least then when I'm being interrupted with an ad, I'm seeing someone that I know is a real person, or at least is IP that I know there are real people behind it. There are people I trust behind it.
Yeah, and I
And
think that's why partnership ads are blowing up, because it's finally like you can tell it's real or real-ish,
yeah,
but
that's
it's much more connected to a human.
I'm not entirely sure if partnership ads are purely working because we all of us really do watch human led ads or recognized face led ads and click buy, or if it's because for now Meta really wants partnership ads to work, and so they're in some sense artificially giving it more momentum. But that's the direction that they've picked, and so that's the direction that as advertisers we're going to have to go with, which is great news for influencer marketeers and even better news for creators that aren't going to.
Definitely. I think thinking of it also as a user, not just as a like from the marketing side, it makes sense. Meta pushes their algorithm in ways that benefit them. And if they think this is the future of ads, they would push more partnership ads. But I think of myself when I'm like scrolling on Instagram, I'm more likely to watch an ad that's a partnership ad, because if it feels like an ad, I just scroll past it. But when it feels like the same content, like if I was watching whatever workout videos and then it's something related to workouts, then like it feels like part of my feed. And like the partnership ad, like the little button only pops up like 5-10 seconds in, so you've already watched part of it and you're like, oh, it's an ad. And then you can like decide to either keep watching because it still interests you, or like skip it because you're like, oh wait, it was an ad, like I don't need to watch it. But if there is like a different user experience than when you see something that's very clearly an app.
And speaking about ads that are entertaining and you're not sure it's an ad, and once you know it's an ad, it's entertaining enough, you'll stick around. We recently came across this creator who made a whole song. Admittedly, to the whole conversation we just had, it's an AI song, but
Of course.
he made a whole song about this brand and posted an Instagram reel with the song as the background. And the reels exploded. I think it's one of her best performing reels, and it's doing really well for the brand. But the song itself now has over 20,000 listens, or maybe even more on Spotify. And it's my favorite song of the year. It really is. It's a minute and a half long, and it's the whole lyrics are about the product and the benefits of the product.
That's amazing.
But there are all these alternative ways I feel that brands can use their creator partnerships to create a partnership asset to get customers. Songs are a great way to do that.
Definitely. I mean, the Puerto Rico song that's like trending everywhere, that's AI.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
there's definitely a place for AI in content even where like that song is being used by every single creator to make real content, but it's an AI song.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that a song where you're doing an ad read with every line of the lyric is definitely not gonna blow up. But I guess as people, sometimes we're curious about an interesting tone, and if the tone is good enough, we'll listen to the ad read that comes as part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I also think, by the way, on partnerships, I feel that LinkedIn is going in the same direction because they announced that they're going to allow for collabs now.
Mhm.
So you can make posts. I don't know if it's available to everyone yet. I haven't I've seen a few people do it on my feed, but not enough. So maybe they're doing some sort of a beta release. But I think it's LinkedIn's way. And also they announced that they're going to have a creator marketplace. It's LinkedIn's way also of saying that we want more people to put a trusted face behind the text that you see, especially at the end. We want there to be the stamp of approval from creators again. And we don't want you to think that everything that you read on this feed has been written by Claude and someone just copy pasted it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be a game changer because now instead of company feeds just being their company content, it can, or reposts of other people's content, it can be a collaboration with their creators and they can create much better content and a content experience for their followers and for people interested in their products than before when it was just, just the brand product, the brand feed and just the creators feeds.
I do think there's a lot of power with creators who are atypical and are probably at the beginning of their journey of solving whatever problem product is solving for people to buy into. And I
Mhm.
think with particularly when I think about software, if it's someone who's highly technically proficient and already using a ton, and we have brands asking us for this already, where they'll go, we don't want to work with creators who have AI native audiences or highly AI literate audiences. We want creators whose audiences have never heard about AI.
Mhm.
We think that, and who as creators themselves have never mentioned AI, because then it looks that a layperson who isn't living in Claude code all day and who knows every single update in the AI world, that any regular person can use our product and benefit from it, and so can you. And it seems far less intimidating. It seems far less distant from who you are as a person. And I do think a lot of brands should partner with creators that don't seem as the end state of what their product can get you to, but instead
Mhm.
make it seem more accessible to the average person. Before we started recording, we were also talking about SEO
Mhm.
and how your process about going about for SEO with Amplify. Are you seeing enough brands talk about the impact that their creator partnerships are going to have when it comes to LLM search and being discovered by ChatGPT or Claude?
So I see some brands thinking about it, but not that many. But it's definitely a topic I've been talking a lot more about with brands where like there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, LLMs, if you really look at what's being pulled in, it's the trust factor. It's not your website. It's, Reddit, it's YouTube, it's like a lot of these things, LinkedIn, like it's the things that humans are writing. It's not the blog post from your website. So definitely like a lot of brands should be having their SEO teams work really closely with their creator teams. I don't think it's happening much yet. Like I did when I was at a brand, I did work closely with our SEO team, but I don't think that is like the norm. I think a lot of SEO teams are still trying to figure out what these LLMs want and writing content in like, bullet points and things like that and answering these people also ask questions and things like that, but there's a really strong opportunity for creator teams and like creator marketing teams and SEO teams to work together and make the partnerships work double time because anything you create, I think Instagram is still struggling a bit with like anything in search engines. Like the platform is a bit more limited to scraping, but YouTube and TikTok are already top results. Like when you're searching for anything, you still see them at the very top, even if you're still Googling. But it's very highly trusted and it's a lot of times people just want a video to answer their question. They don't want to read a bunch of text. So definitely like having creators make that content, which makes it much more trustable, is making brands rank a lot higher than, just traditional SEO. Have you had any experience with this?
We have loads of brands who will ask for the video title to be optimized for what they think does well with SEO. The good news seems to be that whatever practices you were doing for SEO carries over to optimizing for answer engines.
Mm-hmm.
And layer on top that if you're partnering with creators that have better credibility, it's the LLM's job to figure that out anyway. So as long as you've partnered with the right voices, you've done your job of being fed to the LLMs. It's just a case of what questions do you think people are asking that you want your videos or your sponsored content to answer. And the principles of SEO apply there very, very directly.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge tends to be that, unlike with Google, where I do think Google's team became more and more open over the last 2 decades with sharing how websites are ranked and how they indexed and how does a search result get shown before another one. SEO practices were far more documented when it came to the internet. Whereas with ChatGPT and Claude, these systems are disconnected from where the content is being produced. And one, their models keep changing very often anyway. And so there is no real set of policies and guidelines that SEO marketeers can follow or AEO marketeers can follow. And then secondly, we still don't know if these models are going to have their own ad system on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
or are they gonna maybe we know with ChatGPT they're gonna try. We don't know how long for. Is it gonna work well? Claude have said they're not gonna do it. So a lot of these questions make it unclear for AEO to be a true practice, I think. I know there are loads of tools that allow you to optimize your AEO. It seems right now that brands are, at least the ones we work with, are going with the heuristic of, I asked a bunch of my friends in incognito to check, and their agent mentioned us or didn't mention us. And so we're either happy or unhappy based on.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that's the hard thing is right now a lot of companies are being sold SEO and not SEO, they're sold AEO or GEO or whatever they want to call it on a certain day. And they're being sold like, yes, I'm going to help you rank number 1 on ChatGPT. And no one fully understands what that means because also the way people are asking questions has changed completely. Like before, when it was just Googling, I would Google something like in a pretty strategic way so that it would find me the right things. Now, like I'm asking like complex questions and AI is able to answer them. Like yesterday, I was trying to think of a Mexican food that I forgot what it was called because we found something and I was like, oh, is that like the same thing as the Mexican thing? And then I forgot what that Mexican food was called. So I literally asked, like, what is the Mexican jelly fruit thing that you eat with cheese? And like, it sounds ridiculous. Like
No, no,
in the age of like normal Google, I don't think I would have gotten an answer. In 2 seconds, AI overview gave me like the answer. It's this food, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking about. It's so hard to predict what people are even asking because I mean, my question made absolutely no sense, but someone showed up there with the right answer.
I agree. The syntax of querying has changed quite a lot. Obviously, it's far better to do what you did because that's how our brain works. When we're trying to remember, I do this a lot of times with songs. I don't really remember, and I'm terrible at remembering lyrics. People have never been able to help me because I know for a fact that I'm stringing along 12 words that have never been uttered by a musician in history. But that's how my brain has recorded it. And I'm also completely amusical, so I don't know how to sing the right tune. So sadly, neither Shazam nor previously Google or humans could help me. But now I feel that I can go and just describe bits of a scene and 2 or 3 words. And then, of course, Claude will go, that's not what you're thinking about, but this is. And I'll go, yes, this is the song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really impressive what AI is able to do, but because of that, it's so hard to understand what it wants. But I do see like a lot of the AI overviews and a lot of the like things being popped up, especially like, I mean, still like most searches are still happening on Google and then YouTube. It's still like there are a lot of prompts in AI, but once you're like actually like searching for a specific thing, like a lot of it is still YouTube, Google. So then there you still have the old way of ranking. And I see a lot more video popping up higher up, whether it's in AI overviews or just like the first results being video before like blogs and websites. So definitely that's where the opportunity with creators really stands, where if you want to rank for something related to your topic, if it's whether it's an integration or it's, dedicated videos about a specific topic that's related to your product, but not necessarily like a product review, because product review is super important, but that's a very different place. But like even like understanding what this product can do for your body, like not the specific product, but like the niche is super important. Whether it's, let's say for a supplement company, why vitamin C is important for you or whatever. You'll trust more like a video than like like reading a blog or something. And then like there they can really easily sell to you. And that also makes your YouTube ads perform better. Like the sponsorship you did has a much longer lifeline also if you're optimizing it for SEO, because there's a really long tail on YouTube if you do it correctly. Like if you're partnering with a creator and you do the correct things both in the title and the thumbnail, and the description has the correct words, and the like you have a pinned comment and all of these different things, and you optimize it for that specific keyword, then 6 months later or even a year later that video might still be popping up and might still be driving you sales that were not attributed when you first did that video. And it kind of helps, you still see those eventually, whether attributed or not. If you use UTMs, then you can still attribute them and it helps your CPA even lower over time. But it is important because of that to really optimize these videos, both YouTube and TikTok, at least for now.
You've covered a gamut of probably pet peeves of the industry. One, the CTM window being anything over 30 days at this point, to me is just a godsend. I'm mostly seeing brands go, no, 14 to 30 days is what we're going to stick with. And then everything we get after that is gravy, but we're not going to measure it. And then obviously there's this problem with dynamic ad segments. If you do sponsor a video that has a long tail of views and the LLM surfaces it, are you going to be present in it a year from now or 2 years from now? So far, you could take it for granted that you mostly
Mhm.
going
Yeah, and I
forward.
think that's a case study for not doing dynamic.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Especially, like, it depends. Like, if you're doing, like, very broad and you just want a specific audience, that's one thing, but at that point, it's basically the same as running a Google ad, just with the correct creator. But I think, like, if you're going after a video that's your specific topic, I would never do something with a dynamic ad because you want that long tail. You wanna stay on that profile forever. Even if that video is only popping up for 20 people a year, that's still 20 people that are finding
Most
this
relevant
relevant
people.
thing.
Yeah. Also now YouTube has Ask the AI feature that you can interrogate everything that well, on the one hand, you can stop watching the video if you're a psychopath and just summarize the video and ask for what the video itself is about. But if you are in a video about top 10 things to do, not do prescriptions, and as a product you're featured in it, now you have one more place where you can be discovered or where you can be effectively sold to by
Definitely.
AI. And I do think it's pretty important about, even when you think about wording and what is a creator saying about your product and how they're showcasing the product, for in some sense for brands to allow more creativity, because if it's clearly a branded segment, I think over time YouTube is going to start demarcating that part of the video as the branded segment. And then if the AI answers when people ask about the video, I think it'll start skipping over that because it'll treat that bit of the transcript as this is just an ad read. It's not part of the rest of the content. Whereas if you integrate your ad segment in bits throughout the whole content, then it's impossible for YouTube to separate what was brand related and what was organically content related.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I've always liked more of an organic integration where it's really fits into the topic of the video. Like, of course, you have to do all of the FTC things and like say it's sponsored and all those things. But within that, you can still have it be like, instead of just being like the segment at the beginning that has like whatever 60 seconds about the product, have it be, if it's a listicle of 5 tips for this, then like tip number 2 is your product. And then it flows and everyone watches it because it's not an ad. It's a part of the video you clicked on in the first place. And it relates to you already because you clicked on this video and you committed to watch 15 minutes about this topic. So it's a much stronger integration in that sense than just, clicking in, or even product, like even when it isn't a listicle, if it's like a product that like, if it's a vlog and they're showing like different parts of their day and this product is mentioned multiple times because it fits multiple times in their day, then like that can also work. But I think definitely what you're saying where like, like YouTube and all of these platforms are getting smarter about hiding this. And there's also, all the different tools. Like I know I have friends that watch YouTube in a way that like you can click skip ads, like skip that segment, the sponsored segment. And so basically, if you can't do that if it's a part of the video and if it makes really good sense for that video, and you need to have a topic that really fits with that creator, and that's why creator product fit is so important.
Also, with skipping sponsorship segments, I think it's because you've made it so evidently an ad read
Mm-hmm.
that by the way, I also do think ad reads work. And I feel that cutouts where it's clearly the creator every week when they release the video 30% into the video, they take an ad break and they do reads. In some cases do work, I think, because if a creator has had a high track record of recommending brands that do benefit the audience, then I think everyone in their viewership wants to find out what's the next brand they're partnering with. But
Mhm.
the law of large numbers just prevents that from being true for everyone. So most people have to go with it's a hit or miss. The brand I recommend may work, may not work. I'm doing a paid partnership here. And so I think for 90 odd percent of creators, it's more important that they do this, if possible, slice up their ad segment across the whole video versus just doing it in one chunk. But a lot of times brands don't want that. I think it's because this goes back to the logistics of our industry. It makes life harder for brands to review the integration if it's spread across 9 minutes versus if it's in one 60-second chunk.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the ROI speaks for it being
Which
spread. Like, I'd rather spend like,
you're
we've talked a lot about, like, AI a while back about how, like, where you use AI and where you don't, and where you optimize your workflows and where you don't. So there's parts of the workflow that can be automated a lot more, like, follow-up emails or things like that. But checking the content is so important, and if it's gonna convert more because 100% of the viewers or whatever, obviously not 100% get to the end of the video, but let's say you get 70% of the viewers actually watching your integration because it's split between 5 different segments of the video versus like, only 20% because most people skip that sponsored segment, then you are getting a lot more views. You're getting it also more integrated, which makes it more trustable. I know it's harder work for the creator also because that means they actually need to use the product, believe in it, things like that. But it makes it more worthwhile for both the brand and the creator because the creator will see good success with the brand will want to sign them for more videos. Whereas if everyone is skipping that ad, they're not going to get signed again.